that rejection is like just a thing. Like, just get used to it and like it. Know that you're that much closer to the yes because you got another no. My mom worked 4 jobs to send me to culinary school. My dad helped, my grandma helped. Like, it was a whole collaborative thing to send me to culinary school. My mom passed away in 2009 while I was still in school. And people that were so generous picked up the bill for the rest of school. And I was so concerned because I didn't have any money. And they were like, oh, it's all paid for. People want overnight success. And what they see with entrepreneurs is they see the tip of the iceberg. They see, oh, the success. Oh, it happened overnight. Oh, you have these sponsors. Oh, they're helping you out so much. And it's, yeah, but at the same time, look at how much grit and hard work and failure and just, there's nights that I would just sit in my hands and just cry and just be like, this was like 3 days ago. I was like, it's all circling the drain right now. If you're gonna start a business, you have to be prepared of what it takes. And it's not an overnight success. A lot of the social media says, it is just bananas hard. Like, this has been the hardest. We've gone through things that we did not choose to go through, but it's made us stronger, better, and faster.
And I want to come back to what you were talking about, Chef, about the capital raising, because to date, you guys don't have investors.
Right.
To date, it's partnerships, it's different things that you've done. And I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing how do you do that, because the number one thing I hear from clients is, I want to do this, but I don't have money.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't let that stop you, right? You found a way. Okay, wonderful. I am here in Houston, Texas, River Oaks with Chef Robbie and his wife, Mandy. Thank you both for meeting with me today here in your new venue space.
It's a new venue space.
Yeah, 8,700 square feet. Clearly,
not small.
Not small. Clearly in build-out mode, as you can see. I got some footage earlier. It's clearly still in build-out mode. But before we get into what you're doing here in this venue, what the Luxury Treehouse is, what the revenue streams are, and what your future plans are, why don't you first, Chef, share with us a little bit about, go all the way back to the beginning, to your upbringing, and what was the genesis for you wanting to not only be entrepreneurial, but also a chef in the culinary space?
Yeah. So my grandpa was a very successful first generation entrepreneur. My dad he is an entrepreneur. And
what, grandpa, a chef?
No chefs inside of.
You're the first chef.
Yeah. No really inspiration on the chef side. I just materialized things that my family probably didn't want to eat, but tasted anyways.
Okay.
I was like, oh man, this kind of goes together, which it totally didn't. And probably my family was like, oh my gosh, he's cooking again and this is terrible. But really how it happened is I needed a job. I had a car and the deal was get a car, get a job. And so my brothers worked at a 5-diamond resort in our city, which we're very lucky to have it. And they were like, what do you like to do? I was like, to cook. And we'll talk to the chef. And we did. I don't really have a job open for you, but you can do everything no one else wants to do. And I was like, okay, cool, deal. I think they paid me like $625 or something. And I was like, all right, yeah, whatever. Satisfies the job thing. We were going to go from there, and ended up running the kitchen after a year and a half. And it just comes naturally to me. Everybody's got their thing that they're really good at naturally, and cooking's my thing.
And so grandpa was an entrepreneur. Dad was an entrepreneur as well?
Yep.
Okay. And mom was an entrepreneur? Or?
My mom helped run the business with my grandpa.
Okay. Yep. And so you had a culinary bite at a young age. It sounds like you were experimenting, much to everyone's lament, right?
Yep.
Detriment and lament. At what stage did you know you wanted to do your own thing? Was that much, much later, or do you feel like at a young age you wanted to do
That was 15.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I always knew I wanted to set my own destiny in a sense. And really what came down to is I wanted to build my life in a way that I wanted to build it, not build someone else's future. And I guess I didn't know what that meant at a young age, but I knew that's what I want to go towards. And I saw my grandpa really build something to where it gave us a life where we were very fortunate to have that entrepreneur lifestyle, which is pretty cool.
It's interesting growing up in an entrepreneurial environment, you see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right?
Yeah.
So you're not going into it with rose-colored glasses.
In 2008, he got Parkinson's and the business totally washed out.
Was that due to the financial crisis? Or?
It was due to the financial crisis, but also he was the brain, the motivator, the glue that put it all together. And he gave it to, it was just something where without his immense business knowledge and his onset Parkinson's, which kind of took him out really quick, plus the financial crisis, it just wasn't a grand combination.
The financial crisis hurt everybody. It didn't matter what industry you're in. So that's interesting. So how does that make you think about succession planning? You're young.
Yeah.
You're in a new venture eventually. And so how do you think through succession planning with that? You have young children, between the two of you, you have 3 young children.
Yep.
Is that at the forefront right now? Or you're like, Joe, we're in build out mode. We're not even thinking down that far.
No, I mean, I think you always have to look at the future. Our philosophy is we're just not going to give our kids something they're not prepared for. It's like they have to earn it, whether that's wealth or success or a business. Because I've seen so many businesses, especially family businesses, fail because they give it automatically to their children. Now, if they own it or they work for it, that's another deal. Learn those different aspects, because I certainly didn't get anything handed to me. A lot of help by a lot of people. Like this has been the hardest thing we've ever done, but you don't build strong people through an easy life. And I think that's something that is really important is if someone has an easy life, they don't have the grit, they don't have the not giving up, they don't have the faith, things like that, because they're not forced to. And people, if you're not forced to almost do it, people don't change a lot of times and they don't learn. Yeah. And that's something that I think we struggle with is how do you balance providing a good life for your children, but a hard life, because it's like we've gone through things that we did not choose to go through, but it's made us stronger, better, and faster.
It is tough. You don't want your children to suffer or feel pain, but sometimes that's growth.
Yeah.
Right? Interesting. Mandy, what about your upbringing and how you found yourself in this endeavor, this 8,700 square foot build out in the middle of Houston, which is a huge undertaking. So take us back to your young childhood, your inception. Did you ever think you would be doing a venture like this?
I grew up in West Texas, first and foremost, so it's oil field all over.
Okay.
And then when I was 18, I became a dance teacher. So I was a dance teacher, a master of dance hip hop. And then I moved to Houston, and then I worked in the dental field for about 10, 11 years. And then Robbie and I got together, and I quit my job 3 months after meeting him.
But you had the dream of doing your own thing,
I did have a dream, and 4 years later, we're here.
Sometimes it takes meeting the right person to unlock that. Wait, this is a possibility. We could do something like this. I can't wait to talk about this, about the Luxury Treehouse, because such it's a beautiful space. I can't imagine how it's going to look. You guys are looking to open in, I think, 2 months, 2.5 months is what you're looking at.
Yep.
But before we get into that, I want a bit more about your background. Talk to me about how you found yourself. Culinary school has a reputation of being extremely difficult and rigorous program. Walk us through a little bit about that. How did you decide you wanted to go that route?
Yeah. I'm going to back up just for a second with what Mandy said, is because it's something where we work together. We've always worked together since we've been at the very start. She saw me really struggling in a big way, trying to run this company by myself. And that's why she left the dental field, is to bet on me and believe in me instead of, oh, I just need another job, whatever. So really, she discounted her effort in that. And I think that's what has really brought us together and helped us sustain through these massively hard times, is we believe that each other can be this person that we're forming each other in. And it's, we've been through things where we've wanted to give up on business, personal, and relationship. We see the potential of each other, and it's, we're passionate about counseling and mental health and things like that, because we've been through that. And it's very difficult to manage a business, to work together, to have children, do things that are just like abnormally hard.
Is that if you have 70% and I can't fulfill that 30%, or vice versa, we work together. We usually talk in the mornings, try to be on the same page with everything, and just make sure that the day goes good.
Yeah, Mandy had shared that with me prior to when we were setting up the cameras, that she left because she saw the struggles we were having. She also shared with me, and I think this is beautiful in any couple, exactly what you two are saying. You're not twins. Yeah. There's overlap in the skills you each bring to the table. The last thing you want as a partner is a yes man.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want a clone of yourself.
With Robbie, he's like the big picture guy, and I'm the executor. So he does the big picture, and I'm like, okay, then you have to do X, Y, and Z. And we just make it work, and he stays in his lane, and I stay in mine.
I love
but
it.
it always works.
That doesn't come just with like events. I run like the investor proposal that I made, pitch deck, is like, I did the deck, but I ran it completely past her, and she caught some things that I was like, oh, yeah, that's a really good point, because she comes from a whole different perspective. And I think just talking to couples that work together, I think that people are scared sometimes when they're so different. They're like, oh, how do we integrate? How do you guys do it? You're so different. But it's like, you have to really play on each other's strengths, believe in each other, communication, which is very difficult when you're completely opposite. But just like Mandy said, you have to stay in your own lane. You have to believe in what you're doing. And I think the biggest thing, if any couple is going to work together, you have to be committed to not giving up, no matter what it is. Like each other, you could be in a massive fight, but you have to say, I will always be here. I'm always sticking around no matter what happens. I'll always be here, and I got your back. And I think that's probably the one thing that is so important.
I love that.
That and being completely honest with each other. Because if you're not honest and you're not telling him how you feel, he's not gonna know how I feel, I'm not gonna know how he feels, so it just makes everything not work together.
And I want to come back to what you were talking about, Chef, about the capital raising, because to date, you guys don't have investors.
Right.
To date, it's partnerships, it's different things that you've done. And I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing how do you do that, because the number one thing I hear from clients is, I want to do this, but I don't have money.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't let that stop you, right? You found a way, but we'll get to that. So tell us about culinary school.
Yeah, obviously I was in the kitchen. I've always been in fine dining, and my parents were super supportive, and they said, look how hard you've worked. I got paychecks for 218 hours when I was still in high school. They were like $800 because I got $625, and that's with overtime. They really said, hey, we want you to go to the best. You're trying so hard that we'll do whatever, to send you. And we did not come from a wealthy family. My mom worked 4 jobs to send me to culinary school. My dad helped, my grandma helped. Like, it was a whole collaborative thing to send me to culinary school. And then they didn't make me get a job in culinary school. They said, either you get a job or you be absolutely immersed in the school in and of itself. And that was the biggest blessing for me, because I created a network that was astounding. Even down to the point where my mom passed away in 2009 while I was still in school, and people that were so generous picked up the bill for the rest of school. I just went to the registrar, and I was so concerned because I didn't have any money, and they were like, oh, it's all paid for.
Wow.
And actually some very wealthy people that were in my network that I met at school that knew my situation, they just paid it off.
Wow.
This is like $75,000, $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what year was that you graduated?
2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then walk us through your journey, and because I'm trying to get up to the entrepreneurial, this venture, obviously, and I know you have a venture before this.
Yeah.
But walk me through where you were from graduation of culinary school to the venture before this.
Yeah, in culinary school, because I knew what I wanted, I just totally built my whole life around the dream. And I ended up, once again, being very fortunate that I ran the largest club and oldest club in the Culinary Institute of America. And I did that for 3.5 years. The president just happened to be graduating 6 months after I was into the program. And that was like running my own little business inside the Culinary Institute of America. And I think that was really cool. I also ran a staffing company that I connected chefs in the Hudson Valley to students who were in the Culinary Institute of America. And so I always had this vision, and I had an idea here and I did it and it failed. I don't know how many times I failed on these ideas and concepts. And
talk about that.
Yeah, it sucked.
Talk about something.
And there's so many times I felt like a complete failure and I was dumb and what am I doing? And like this negative self-talk, and it's just like a constant struggle because I held myself to such a high standard, and I was like, why am I coming with all these ideas if they all fail?
Are these restaurants? Walk us through a couple of them that come to mind.
So one of them was like before AI, like this interactive accounting program that I built from an Excel spreadsheet. One of them was like a rewards program from the appliance industry. One of them was something called Luxury Appliance Support, which is like a whole new way to do appliances. And then I had the staffing company that was good for a while. There's a lot of logistics in running a company, and I didn't really know how to do that. So that's just like a few of them, but I was, 22, 23, and then I started Savory Celebration 13 years ago in 2012. And that's when things really made sense and took off, and I really learned a lot and applied all those failures to a business that actually worked for a while at least.
So Savory Celebration is the prior venture I was referencing earlier. Walk us through what you learned from prior failures and how you move forward with Savory Celebrations and what that is.
Yeah, so I actually had, right now it's just me and Mandy, but I actually had with Savory Celebrations a few employees. And that was very difficult, and they were actually friends and family. And so there's just like a whole different dynamic. I learned about taxes and the operation standpoint, but I guess it's a double-edged sword because I learned that you have to push so hard and you have to ride the line between success and failure so finely in order to grow a business, and you have to constantly invest to grow a business. And it's like you have to have this long-term vision that is so unbreakable, and you have to have this bulletproof mindset that like I'm unbreakable, that like it's a necessity, because there are so many times that I want to give up, Manny wants to give up, we want to give up, because it is so hard. It was so hard.
So talk to me about Savory Celebrations. What exactly was it?
Yeah, so like we specialize in Iron Chef competitions with corporations, team building. We do some catering, private, in-home, fine dining events, but it's all on site for the most part.
Wow, would you just look at that?
Partnered with appliance dealers to do our team buildings because they had live appliances, and that's generally where part of this concept came from. And then we did in-home because we didn't have a location. We were forced to do that. Right. And we just made it work and pieced it together. So this was 13 years ago.
So talk to me about when you started Savory Celebrations. Did you do it just total bootstrap? Where did you get the capital for it? Was it like, how did that work?
Yeah, I was running the Sur La Table cooking school. We had Thermador in there. And then dealers started saying, hey, we want to bring clients in for interactive cooking demos to sell our appliances. And they partner with dealers. And I always knew I wanted to run my own business. So I said, hey, you guys want to do this in like the actual dealers? And so our pitch to Thermador and the dealers were, hey, you put the appliances live, Robbie will come in and do the demos, and then we can close clients in an interactive environment. And this was like 10 years ago. And so now that's a standard in the appliance
it was
industry.
forward thinking back then.
Yeah.
That just didn't happen.
And so we dominated the city and really started this interactive platform for dealers. And I was able to start this company just cash flowing it. I've never had investment, like ever. So that's why it's so foreign to me helping to raise investment with this project. I've always bootstrapped it, reinvested in the business. I mean, from laser engraving for our products to actual product lines to our services, we're all internal. We have we can do a whole 50-person fine dining dinner and it's all our stuff.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of investment in the business and just built it over 13 years, getting plates here and glasses here, and fortunate enough to get this really intense private chef job, 2 of them right when we started the company outside of the appliance industry. And we were like, oh my gosh, we made so much money in this short period of time. So it was just you call it serendipity, you call it the universe, God's plan. We call it God's plan because it's like, everything has just worked in such Mandy always said, we make it by the little hair on the chinny chin right at the last minute, but it's necessity to learn and grow. But yeah, it's always just been straight up cash flow reinvestment for 13 years.
Okay, so again, you don't necessarily need investors. You don't necessarily need 6 figures in your bank account. You can find a way to get it done.
Yeah, you just got to be creative. I think the biggest thing is I try to never burn bridges and always really. And the other biggest thing is ask for help. So many people are scared of looking vulnerable, looking stupid. And I've gotten so far just by asking for help. And this is very successful people. Some of these guys have been billionaires. And I just went and I was like, hey man, I need some help. Can you give me some advice? Can you help me out here or help me out there? And they're all so willing to do it because they've been there. They've been through, it's the same entrepreneurial journey no matter who you are. It's just a different industry. So they get it.
So true, so true. And then
look at you, Joe. Ask for help.
I'll say I'm so grateful because I saw what you were doing and I reached out and I said, Chef, can I interview you? And you're like, I don't know if I can add anything. Yeah. And I came back and I said, are you kidding me? This is awesome. And you're like, okay, I'll do it. That's great. I love it. I love it. Okay. So now I want to get to the Luxury Treehouse, and I'm going to share the renderings and the pictures and the concept, but give us a high-level overview, Mandy, about what the Luxury Treehouse is going to be.
It's going to be very private and fun. What I see in luxury is I want to give someone else the opportunity that is a busy person not to have to worry about anything. It's luxury fun. So it's just going to be one of those things that you can come in and you feel comfortable. You're going to be treated like family, and you're going to get what you pay for.
So is it a restaurant, a cooking school, a showroom? There's so many different things going on, right?
Yes. So it's all of the above, I guess you can say. It's applicable to your everyday person if they want to come in for retail, they want to do a cooking class, your corporate offices, your private dinners. So yeah.
Okay. And then talk to me, Chef. I think you're going to have something like 7 kitchens here.
Yeah, so playing off that live appliance thing is, especially in luxury retail appliances, like pick it. If you're spending a significant amount of money, you want to experience it. And I think that is so important. Retail has phased out or is phasing out in a traditional way. No one wants to go to a store and just be sold something. They really want an experience. They want to learn something. They want to feel something. And that's what this place is meant to be. It's called the Luxury Treehouse because it's meant, just like Mandy said, to take someone who is super busy, take them out of their current environment and bring them into somewhere that is whimsical, is fun, that they can just totally like chill. And if you think about a tree house, that's what it meant, right? You go into a whole different dream world. And that's really our goal in how we do things. And everything is experiential, from the 7 kitchens that we have live. So you can experience Monogram appliances, the beautiful lighting, even down to the knives that we sell, the wine glasses that we have, and why we have a Bordeaux glass and a Burgundy glass, because you're actually tasting the right wine out of the right glass. So it's a completely immersive format, but what we've done is mix housewares and the building industry together. So we work with designers, builders, and architects for people who are building a new home to make it move-in ready. Not only do they have the home in and of itself, they have their china ready, they have their flatware ready, it's all put away and organized, they have their cooking pots and pans and knives and cutting boards, and they don't have to try to figure out, oh, what's good, what's recommended. This is all like custom, chef curated, designer curated products. And I think that's really what's missing in the industry is not only experiential, but customization. And that's really what luxury is. Not only getting that service like Mandy was saying, but the customization that you get from personalized service. That's really where we're going with the Luxury Treehouse, is integrating 10 different revenue streams into the same place, but the 10 revenue streams are not for different clientele. It's meant for being a all-inclusive experience for that same person. Maybe they're building a new home, but then they like to entertain. Maybe they like the social club aspect, so they can join our dinner society. They can host a private event. They can have corporate gifts that are engraved by us. They can do a corporate meeting, an Iron Chef. So we take that person and we build a relationship with them. So for example, a CEO, there's a lot of clients that we have that they're like, Robbie, you guys just handle it and let us know, what the bill is, because they trust us. And I think that is so important in luxury, is the trust.
And so you delineated several revenue streams, and then on top of that, they can order pretty much everything, as you said, even down to the tile, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So it's not like Sears. You're not
Yeah.
into Sears.
Yeah. Everything's monetized, but I think the biggest thing, especially from our sponsors' point of view, is everything we sell is used in an event. So the event is the activation. It's not just the event itself. It's actually experiencing the product through an experiential activation. That's really what the events are for in the venue.
Love it. Okay, so the big question is, how do you build out an 8,700 square foot space, stock it with the 7 kitchens, have, this beautiful, great location in River Oaks and Houston, without investors?
Through a lot of grit, kindness, asking for help, like being personable. And really what it comes down to is relationships. You have to have the right pitch. How we run our business is we try to make other people money first, right? We don't focus on ourselves, on how to make us money. If we make someone else money, they're going to spend the money on us. And I think that's the concept that's really got us very far, because no one's going to do something for free. I understand there's some nice people out there, but still no one's going to do something for free. There has to be some. So you got to find that angle of, hey, what's in it for them, and not think about it like, oh, hey, there's so many people, especially I know we met on LinkedIn, that's like themselves first. It's, oh, what can you do for me, even though I'm pitching my service? That doesn't make sense. And I've gotten really far with finding the right angle to say, hey, here's how it's beneficial for you. Here's how we're committed to making you money. And we've really built these strong partnerships with GE Monogram, Kohler, Callista, Constantino, Sherwin-Williams, all these different companies, and building them together to say, hey, not only can you work with us, but you can work with each other. And this is a collaborative space for you guys to work with each other for the same client. And why not? They're all trying to go for the same client, so why not?
It's a unique model, the partnership with the vendors. And Mandy, you were sharing with me prior to, when I was setting up the cameras, that some of these had to go all the way up to the CEOs of these very large companies. Talk to me about how you guys negotiated that.
Like Robbie said, asking for help. He had this vision 4 years ago, and you were already pitching it, and nobody really believed in you, but I did. I helped him with his dream, with our dream, and we just worked together and made things work.
Yeah, and you have to have we had a lot of meetings. This is the 3rd generation of this idea. We had a landlord the first time, didn't work out. We had a landlord the second time. We kind of got scammed by a private equity guy that wasn't really a private equity guy. And then we quit for a while. And then the 3rd generation, we're like, okay, let's try it again. I had this gut feeling of let's try it again. And then it has materialized into this. It's taken 4.5 years. People want overnight success. And what they see with entrepreneurs is they see the tip of the iceberg. They see, oh, the success. Oh, it happened overnight. Oh, you have these sponsors. Oh, they're helping you out so much. And it's, yeah, but at the same time, look at how much grit and hard work and failure and just, there's nights that I would just sit in my hands and just cry and just be like, this was like 4 days ago, 3 days ago. I was like, it's all circling the drain right now.
Oh, no.
And now it's all back to being good with lots of potential. But you have to be prepared if you're going to start a business. You have to be prepared of what it takes. And it's not an overnight success. A lot of the social media says it is just bananas hard.
You also need support.
Yeah.
You also need somebody who's going to support you. Even when things fail, you didn't fail, you just learned something new.
Yeah.
And it is very difficult. It is very hard, but we support each other no matter what. Whether I'm doing something or Robbie's doing something, it's like, hey, you got this. You did great. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And
She gives me encouragement even when she's, oh man, this is circling the drain.
oh, this might not work. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to pivot? What do we do to pivot in another direction? Okay, let's try this out. Okay, so maybe it didn't work out, but maybe it does.
Like you always got to have 10 things in the works and that all works together because there's clients that will call me 6 months later and be like, oh, hey, we're ready now. And I'm like, oh, I totally wrote that off. But I think that's the big thing is you have to be diligent and you have to follow up until you get the no. And that's it.
That was my next question. How do you handle going to a Kohler or a Monogram, these high-end brands, and you get all the way up and they say no? Do you go back 6 months later, 3 months later? And how do you propose to someone, contribute this product and install it, and you'll start seeing money 6 or 8 months down the road?
Yeah, so no, you have to instantly reframe it to them. So you have to take the objection and be like, okay, first you have to recognize their feelings, put yourself in their shoes. Okay, yeah, I get it. It's a big investment. Okay, how am I gonna make you money? Okay, let's rephrase it. Let's loop someone else in. How about we think about it this way? And I think that is so important, and being humble, because there's so many people that when they get denied, they're like, oh, didn't work out. No, you have to continue to just try and follow up, because sometimes it's just not right timing. It's not about you. It's just not the right timing for that person or that company. So then you either get a no from that company and go on to the next one, or, that really there's no other option. Just go on to someone until they say yes. And that's you have to know that you're going to fail and that rejection is like just a thing. Like just get used to it and like it. Know that you're that much closer to the yes because you got another no.
I love it. So persistence is obviously key. What does success look like 1 year from now?
It's so different than what people would probably think, like being successful, having the things, paying the bills, being comfortable. As an entrepreneur, you don't ever know when things are gonna fall apart. Be successful, you can be broke one day and have lots of money the next day because a deal went through, and that's all great, but
For success for us is giving back. We do the right thing. We do the right thing for others. So it's like, that's one of our core principles together is we always do the right thing to others because we want to be
we try
authentic.
the best we can.
We want to be authentic. We want to be real. We want to be honest. But one thing is, like Robbie mentioned earlier, mental health is very important for us. So counseling, if we can help somebody go through counseling and help them out, we want to do that. We want to be able to do that for them.
We want to create a charity in my mom's honor where we pay for mental health services for other people. We bring people in from organizations, from charities to use this space as a collaborative space to help others. We've seen people that would benefit so much from the counseling that we've received and the people that have supported us and paid for counseling for us when we couldn't, and it's changed our lives completely. So we really want to impact people. This is a great facility. This is a great venture, but we feel it's a facilitator to a bigger calling.
So that's an interesting kind of KPI or success metric. We will feel successful when we're making enough to be able to give back. There's that excess to be able to give back. And Chef, you shared with me a very personal thing, and if you're willing to talk about it, that your mom passed at a very young age, at 49.
Yeah. 46.
46, I apologize.
Yeah.
46. I'm 50. So that to me that's a young, right?
Yeah.
What did that do to you? At what point was that? And what did that do to you? Did that push you to do this?
Yeah. So tragedy puts a whole different perspective on life. She's my best friend. And really what I got from it is I live by 3 different principles, and every single decision that I make follows that 3 principles. And it's something where it's easy for me to make decisions. The first one is never have regrets. So that's what this is built on, is I would rather bet on myself, which is another principle, and fail than get to the end of my life and say, shoulda, woulda, coulda, because at that point, shoulda, woulda, coulda doesn't mean anything. So I would rather set the example for my kids and really bet on myself and build our future and say, you know what, I tried, or you know what, give the story. The best stories in movies is a superhero that it's like, he can never do that. Oh, that's impossible. But they do it anyways. The dragon's not too big. And I think that's part of the bigger picture, is inspiring others to say, despite mental health, despite all the odds, you can do it. And I think people need a success story to hold on to when things are really hard.
I love that. So what assumptions are you guys making? So you have it open in 2.5 months. What are the metrics, the assumptions, booking volumes, events? Where are we on that?
It's multiple different things. Obviously, we're raising some investment for this project, but this is also very scalable because it's once again, we're making money for companies first and then with us. We're looking to scale this decently quickly to Dallas, other cities. We have the social club that really provides a reoccurring revenue as well as a launching point for us. So that's also an aspect that we're passionate about, but also it gives a very cool service to us. So through initiation fees, through reoccurring fees, our goal is to pay for our core expenses to run an operational standpoint because of this kind of guaranteed reoccurring income. And then we already have Savory Celebration that feeds business, corporate business, things like that into here. We do definitely have KPIs, but it's just me and Mandy that run it. We don't have this massive operating team. We hired temp staff, which we already have, to do the events. And we're just really taking it in stride, trying to be very conservative and not just blow through money or blow through marketing. We have a marketing company that's helping us out, is just the kindness of their hearts. Once again, like asking, doing a little trade. And our goal is just to do it, pay for our expenses, and just take it from there. And
so the core monetary is coming from being fed from your other business and then the subscription side. And then the accretive revenue comes from events and appliance selling and all the other revenue.
Yeah, so it's twofold. It's events and retail.
Okay.
So it's half retail, half events, because also these sponsors are doing events themselves. So we have built-in cash flow. We have built-in customers that they're bringing in. So our customer acquisition cost is pretty low because we're bringing in influencers through builders, designers, architects, which are bringing in their clients, which is our clients. And the sponsors are bringing in the builders, designers, and architects and the influencers and their clients. So we're synergistically working with the sponsors to also use their marketing budgets that they already have. It's already established. They already spend. Just, hey, spend it with us. Like we already have some contracts for events with the sponsors. And so it's a combination of a lot of different things, really.
So talking specifically about the sponsors once more, because you brought it up, the first couple of times you go to them and they say no, but then you get better and better, your batting average increases. So what did you learn about negotiating with premium brands that you can share?
There's definitely a lot of layers, but every layer has a different priority, right? So the executive director of marketing has a different priority than the director of sales or the vice president of sales. And so you really have to cater to and talk in their language and figure out how they present luxury. How do they go to market? How do they see your concept and talk to that specific group or person or whatever it may be in their language? I always say, meet people where they're at. And I think that is, exactly how to do it, because You can't go to a luxury brand and be talking how they go to market for another luxury brand. It's not going to be well received. It's like talking gibberish to someone who speaks English. It's total different language.
What is the operational risk that keeps you up at night?
Failing,
Okay.
people not signing up, getting the word out. There's just always so many unknowns. Obviously, we're in a 8,700 square foot space in River Oaks, and operating expenses are just in and of the core pretty expensive, but we designed it to be a cash generating engine, just like any business, but we have put so many different cash flows into it in a very cohesive way that we should be fine. But always in the back of your head, you run a business, you're like, okay, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? And that is what keeps us up at night, because you just don't know. And I guess something that we have gained in the last really 6 months is, my motto is, we're just showing up, because it was very difficult. I didn't have faith in God in a big way for the last pretty long time. And there's so much stuff that you can't control in life that just has to be let go and given up. I was stressed. I had anxiety. My mental health, physical health was just totally deteriorating, because I can't control when people call. I could do marketing. I could throw all kinds of money at it. Doesn't mean it's going to work. So it's like, this thing has only happened because of his plan. And I firmly believe that, because we just met a few days ago. You're important to us. I had some great phone calls and people this morning, which I never ever thought would be like phone calls. And so I guess that's really what's super important to us.
I love that. That speaks of my wife. She says the same thing. Sometimes she's, Jesus, take the will.
Yeah.
I'm out, whatever happens. This has all been helpful. I think going back and finalizing, before I want to talk about the capital raise, and I want to talk about the national aspirations and the replication. But I just want to finish out on the luxury point. When people hear luxury, they just think expensive. Mandy, define luxury not just from a price point.
I cover the retail area. Robbie really covers more of the corporate. So, for example, if we're going to do a cooking class, the luxury part is you're going to get some wine out of a really nice glass, a hand-blown glass, and you're going to get charcuterie or something of that sort to start off with. But then it's also one of those moments that it's, oh, wow. You get the wow factor. That's what makes it feel luxury, is just the wow factor and fun, because it's one of those things you don't want to go to a cooking class or somewhere that it's just not very exciting, but you're also getting that luxury feel.
I think that's definitely true. And Mandy's discounting herself a little bit in the sense that you want it to feel like home. Luxury is about, so true hospitality has been lost, in my point. And I think Mandy personifies this hospitality where when you walk in, it's like, hey, good to see you again. It's the personalization. It's the making people, no matter who you are, you could be a billionaire, you could be whatever, it doesn't really matter, of treating everybody like they're special, but in their own way, not bougie special where you're elevating them to a place. Because I've talked to a lot of people that some people super successful just want to be treated like a normal person. They don't want to be the starstruck. They don't want to be that. And I think Mandy does a fantastic job at being that person who comes in and is just warm, and it's, oh, she's a friend to everybody. And I think that's what really personifies luxury, is true hospitality.
I love that. So the idea is to expand across the U.S. and talk a little bit about why you chose Houston, River Oaks, and then what are the demographics or the corporate mix or tourism, or what is it that you're looking for as you expand?
Yeah, so as far as this just happened, very, God's plan, serendipitously, where this is a third generation. We were done. We just happened to reach out to an amazing landlord that was introduced to us through a YPO event that we did. And he bought into it. He believed in us. He has always believed in us. And the space was just open. It just happened. And it happened to be in River Oaks. It happened to be in a great location. Wow. So there really was no scouting around. There was no, we didn't even have a commercial realtor. It was just through a mutual contact.
Wow.
And so as far as expansion is concerned, we're not looking, we will follow the building industry. When there's a housing boom, we'll put up a venue because it's all centered around that new homeowner, because that new homeowner is the key to everything. And I think that's what's really important. Obviously, we need a great location. We want a great landlord. We want a great developer, but that is the core because our sponsors, that's their customer. So if we want their support, which severely takes down our build out cost and gives us a very low CapEx, we follow where their money is, right? Where do they make money when we put up a venue? Because just like I said, you make them money, they invest in us. So Dallas is really the next slated venue for us. And our goal would be to put it up in a year and a half.
So then the idea would be to go to Kohler, to go to Monogram, to go to these other vendors and say, hey, look, here are the numbers. They know the numbers, but here are the numbers. We want to move into that city, get them rolled up, and then open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this, once it's proven, is a pretty much no-brainer. For example, Monogram, there's competitors that have showrooms dedicated to their appliances. And so it's a great opportunity for Monogram to be able to partner with us and have an exclusive showroom that is low investment from a fixed expense where they're operating it, they have staff, they're managing it. They just partner with us synergistically because of we only go to manufacturers for the most part, which allows them to give us a special deal on their products because they're the manufacturer. We don't necessarily go through distributors because they're the middle guy. So we go straight to the source, and that's how our build out is much lower.
And so the capital raise, that capital is for the portion that you put in life savings wise? Is that the idea?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So outside of tenant allowance, as well as they give us a discount. A lot of them do not give us the product for free. So we still have to pay for part of the product. And there are a few different things that we don't have a sponsor for, like a makeup air system, which is necessary, but also through cash burn a little bit. But with Houston, because of our build out is so low, Houston and each venue should fund the next venue because we are at probably a 15% than traditional, like we only spend 15% of what we would normally spend on build out. So we can actually replicate this system very quickly.
Yeah, because this will have the highest cash flow and you can use that to roll forward on the other units.
And just the initiation, just the social club through initiation and reoccurring revenue will fund the next venue.
Interesting. What do you think is going to be the biggest investor objection? Because it sounds like a really good deal, right?
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, okay.
It's new.
Okay.
This has never been done before.
Okay.
People get it. People frame it as hospitality. I just, with my new deck, framed it as experiential retail, which is much more, it's actually more accurate, which was on me in that sense. But they just hear doing events and they instantly think event venue. But it's so much more in the sense that really we're expanding the housewares industry into the home building industry and then putting it experiential because everything we sell, we use in our events. And so it's great for those builders, designer, architects, the sponsors. And so I think that's the biggest objection. We've talked to some investors that are like, oh, I get it. Either they get it or they don't, period. We have some people that are like, hey, we're oil and gas guys. We don't invest out of oil and gas. So it's finding the right fit for the concept. And if they get it and they're like, this is awesome. So I think that's really the key.
And we had talked about the importance and value of strategic investors.
Right.
People who can bring something to the relationship rather than just dollars. Maybe they have connections or industry insight.
Yep.
Yeah.
We talked to a gentleman just recently, and something that was important to him is he runs some hospitality. He understands hospitality. He went to hospitality school. And so that's what's super important is, yeah, you get the base hospitality concept, but then you have the retail portion, but then you have the build out capitalization that's compounding. And it's, oh, okay, I get the scalability of it. I get the partnerships. And it's okay. But they have to be a very diverse investor, developer, someone who has resources in multiple different operational real estate, hospitality, that kind of really gets it. That's a good fit for us.
What are some of the things that the vendors asked for, the sponsors, that you didn't want to give up? Like, how was that back and forth? Was it just numbers, like the percentage of the discount, or were they asking for certain placement, signage? Was there anything they asked for that you didn't want to give?
No, not really. Really, we were just negotiating on discount.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just discount, and because we don't have any investors, we really had to try very hard to get the discount as low as possible. But also, really, at the end of the day, we had to make sure that they were aligned with how we wanted to run things, how we saw the vision of this, because it's new. So you have to understand, once again, just like an investor or sponsors, you have to understand what we're doing, or it's not going to work, period. If there's no trust there, it's not going to work. So I think that was one of the biggest points, is getting the discounts approved at the right way, because these are discounts that are outside of their normal.
Which is why it had to go so high up.
Correct.
And
have the conversations and the understanding, because they're not going to invest just like an investor. If they don't understand, they're not going to put their money there. And obviously I wouldn't do it. So that's what's super important.
And in my mind, it would go a long way towards a traditional investor that's injecting capital, that these large storied institutions are doing something out of the norm and giving you these hefty discounts because they believe in your model.
Yeah.
And they're in the industry.
Yep.
So they think it's good.
I think there's definitely some clout there that has been huge for us too. We've had some very big anchor sponsors.
So entrepreneurship is hard in and of itself. Marriage is hard in and of itself. Raising kids is hard.
It's balance. That's
So,
really
okay.
hard.
Oh, Mandy, thank you for volunteering, Mandy. How do you balance that? How do you balance that?
Communication.
Okay. Transparency and communication you were talking about? Okay.
It's like I said earlier, it's pure honesty and talking things through, making sure you're on the same page. We get a lot of people that always ask us, how do you work with your spouse? And it's a lot of work. It's not rainbow and sunshines all the time. Sometimes we just have to take a little bit of space, take a little bit of a break, and then come back and converse about it. But the balance is, you make time for the date nights, you make time for the kids, you make time for business. For example, Robbie and I, when we go on dates, it's like we turn our phone off completely. We don't want to see the emails, we don't want to be interrupted. The same thing with the kids. We make that dedicated time. It might not be all the time, because sometimes you do have to sacrifice some things. Sometimes you do have to sacrifice some time. But then at the end of the day, as long as you're talking about it and just being completely open, that's what makes it work in the balance.
Yeah, I think the not giving up and knowing the expectation. Because yeah, we say that all the time. I say all the time, and we say all the time, it's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It just seems too much. It just seems too much. It just seems too much. And it's like, you just have to commit to not giving up, whether that's on each other, whether that's on the business, period. I think that's so important. And I've had people be like, dude, you don't give up. But it has to be a core principle, right? It can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to give up. Because when things get like really tough, you got to have it as like your internal being of, I just don't give up. That's just part of my character. That's who I am.
That too, and I agree with you as well, but we both see things in two different perspectives. So at the end of the day, it's okay, he sees it this way and I see it that way. And it's like, how can we work together to make things work? And I agree with Robbie. It's, oh my gosh, we just want to quit. We've had those times where, like you said earlier, going to cry. And we have cried, and it's, oh my gosh, what do we do? And just working together.
I love that. Thank you. A lot of people won't share this. They put on social media, they do put the rainbows and the unicorns, and it's not, right? Not all the time.
And you have to be okay with waiting. That's something I'm like, have an issue with, because I work so fast.
So I have to remind him, and I'm like, okay, you just sent that email on Monday and it's Wednesday. So I'm like, they're probably really busy. So give it some time. Give it till next week at least.
Talk to me a bit more about that. You'd said, Chef, that it's tough sometimes. Give us an example from a business perspective in the last 30 days where you were like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Okay, so I'll give you that in the last 3 days.
Okay, fresh.
Yeah, super fresh. We're just under this massive pressure because we have some surprises with the build out. Because we don't have any investors, it's something where it's a lot of pressure. We're under a timeline that is almost unattainable. And you just sit there and you're like, I don't have any options. I usually always have an answer. I usually have always some type of direction. And in some certain situations, the last 3 days, I'm just like, I don't have any answers. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to survive. I don't know, just period. So it's just, I just need to wait. And I think the most important thing is you just got to, in those moments, you got to give it to God and take care of yourself. And that is what is so important. And Mandy reminds me all the time, I'm not very great at taking care of myself. I will work and work. I feel like a failure like every single day. If I'm not getting 5 times more than the average person done, I feel like trash. I feel like a total freaking failure, like I didn't get anything done. And Mandy's like, you got up at 4 or 5 o'clock, you worked till 7:30, and you got all this stuff done. And I'm like, yeah, such a failure. Ugh.
I can attest to that because I think we were messaging last night on LinkedIn at 10, or I commented and you commented back. And then I messaged you at 4:30 this morning and you messaged right back. Wow. Mandy, what about you? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe in the last 30 days. Has there been that? How do you deal with it?
Journaling.
Okay.
It really helps a lot.
Okay.
To write out your thoughts because, like Robbie said earlier, 3 days have passed and it was one of those things where you just want to give up, but then you're right there at that peak of the hard part. And it's okay, I have to be strong and help my husband out. It's like, how can I be a support system for him? Like he said earlier, he has a hard time taking care of himself. So I'm like, okay, did you eat today? All right. Okay, what are we working on? How is this going? So it's very difficult and hard sometimes, but I just make it work.
It's amazing. Self-help is so key. I shared with both of you that my wife and I had started a national company and grown it, and we were running ourselves into the ground, and it was so bad that she had a mini stroke and was in the hospital for 4 days and 3 nights, and that's when we decided to pull the plug. Kudos to you for recognizing that you need to eat before you have a mini stroke. That's important.
And I think counseling too. I've gone to counseling my entire life since I've been 13. Even in school and stuff like that. Mandy has gone to counseling, and I think you gotta have someone to talk to, and you gotta have someone that is unbiased, that knows how to navigate these things in life. And that's why we're so passionate about counseling, is because it's totally changed our life. And it is difficult to take care of yourself. It is difficult to find a direction, to sort out your mind. Like, I have really bad ADHD, and it used to really affect my life in a really nasty way. And I think that's like an entrepreneurial trait, is like we have ADHD, maybe, but it's something.
I think Albert Einstein.
Yeah, exactly. You go in hyper focus, and I think that's what makes entrepreneurs have the ability to get stuff done abnormally well and fast, which you have to do. And I have a very specialized counselor that specializes ADHD, and it has changed my entire life. I have systems. I have to be built on systems. I have to know, okay, if I'm feeling like this, even though I don't know how I'm feeling, I need to do this. Systems and tools, really.
I love that. I love that. Thank you both for your time today. I know you're both busy doing this build out, and I'm very grateful for this. And I know there's a lot of nuggets there people will get out. And the website is
www.luxurytreehouse.com.
So
easy.
Coming to your city soon. Coming to you soon. Right now in Houston. April of 26, and then 26. Dallas is next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay.